So the girl that I work with asked me how many children I had, and I said none. I said, what about you? She says, yeah, I got two. And I said, oh my God, are you married? She said, ha, no, are you? And then I was like, oh yeah, I'm married. And she was like, yikes, let me know how long that lasts.
There was a time when a bad day at the office ended at a happy hour or in a private conversation with a spouse. You'd get it off your chest, wake up the next morning, and go back to work with your reputation intact. But now, we're seeing a new pattern. People are propping their phones up against coffee mugs in the break room or recording story times in the parking lot before they've even put the car in reverse. We've traded the locked diary for a public broadcast, forgetting that the internet isn't a therapist. It's a ledger. I'm not saying you shouldn't have access to social media or the right to express yourself, but we have to look at the incentives. The workplace tell-all has its own rhythm. It starts with the quiet quitting narrative and ends with the viral moment that's as much about personal branding as it is about labor rights. It feels good in the moment. You get that hit of dopamine when the comments start rolling in saying, girl, me too, or your manager is toxic. But while you're collecting likes, you're also collecting red flags. Unless you're self-employed or in a role where your time is strictly limited and the stakes are low, venting online isn't standing your ground. It's handing over the shovel to bury your own progress.
I'm sorry, but my manager is actually insane. I mean, genuinely unhinged. I have this boss for the past 3 months has been on my ass about communicating better. I'm like, girl, please get off of my back. So last Tuesday, we have our weekly check-in. She's like, I'd love if you took more initiative. And I'd love if you stopped waiting for people to tell you what to do. Be so serious right now. Be so dead ass. She will genuinely ask me for updates on things that I already updated her on. Here's where it gets wild. I have this app called Playbacks, and it pretty much just records and transcribes everything so I can be lazy and not pay attention and go back and read it later. Thank God I had it on, because she sends me an email 2 days later saying that I didn't follow her outline that she clearly stated in our last one-on-one. And I'm like, girl, no, you didn't. And I'm glad I had my Playbacks app on, because I was able to record it. I go to that exact day to read the transcripts, and I see word for word, I'm not even playing with y'all. She said, you're doing amazing. Keep doing what you're doing. I have no notes. And I'm just like, what crawled up your back and made me your assignment of destruction? I don't know.
Let's look at the math, because the math doesn't care about your feelings. 1, you think you're showing authenticity. Your employer sees a breach of confidentiality and a loose cannon. In the world of PR risk, why would a company keep someone who views their workplace as a content set? 2, hiring managers don't just look at your resume, they look for your vibe. If your digital footprint is a trail of grievances, you've branded yourself as the common denominator in every conflict. 3, you're prioritizing a fleeting moment of visibility over a decade of career building. A viral video lasts a week. A reputation as a liability lasts a lifetime.
Out of Racine County, as a car salesman is now out of a job after backlash from a now deleted viral TikTok video he recently posted. This TikTok, originally posted by @KennySells, the caption says, "You look happier. Thanks, I just sold a single mom a car, $10,000 over sticker." That video sparked some serious outrage and has now been deleted. Additionally, the man, Kenny Rua, has now been fired, but the dealership is still the target of negative reviews.
Okay, so look at this individual here. He posted this on Facebook. I will not perform anesthesia for any surgeries or procedures for MAGA. It is my right, it is my ethical oath, and I stand behind my education. I own all of my businesses and can refuse anyone. So it seems he's a nurse in the state of Florida, or was a nurse in the state of Florida. Now the Attorney General for the state of Florida said effective today, Eric Martindale is no longer a registered nurse in Florida. Healthcare is not contingent on political beliefs, and we have zero tolerance for partisans who put politics above their ethical duty to treat patients with respect and the dignity they deserve.
It's fascinating how we've reached a point where people will risk a 6-figure salary for 15 cents in creator fund revenue and a handful of "you tell them, girl" comments from strangers who won't be there when the rent is due. People underestimate the reach of their niche corner of the internet. You think you're venting to your followers, but the algorithm is designed to push your content to the people it's most relevant to. And who is it more relevant to than the people who work in the exact same building as you?
Do not have your coworkers on social media. Block them before they find you. I literally had to quit my job because someone at work found my TikTok and sent it to the boss. So I said bye and I quit. Imagine getting a call from your boss and your boss asking, like, are you making TikToks about work? Are you talking about coworkers on your TikTok? I got a call just like that. I literally almost started crying after I got the call because I was so embarrassing. Like, imagine your boss finding your TikTok and being like, yeah, you got to take that video down, this and that and this. You're just like, this is embarrassing. Someone told me that my TikToks were going around the workplace. I literally had no idea. I made a TikTok talking about one of my coworkers about something I didn't like that they did, and they downloaded the video. They downloaded it because I literally deleted the video. I was like, how do they even have the video? And they were sending it around, allegedly. I don't really know how this went down. Maybe they didn't download the video. I don't know. And they were sending it and be like, oh, who's Emily talking about? Everyone was trying to figure out, like, oh my God, who is Emily talking about? And then apparently it went to the boss.
The second I start a job, no matter what occupation it is, I block my coworkers on social media. Doesn't matter, literally when I walk at orientation, block. Immediately. At my previous job, I'm called into the office by my manager, who's also blocked, by the way. Called into the office and I'm questioned, we heard that you blocked so-and-so on this social media platform. Is this true? I said, absolutely. They said, well, why did you block that person? I said, hold on. Am I violating any policy you guys have that involves my employment here by blocking this person or anybody else on social media? They said, no. I said, okay, well, then I won't answer that. I refuse to answer the question.
Getting fired over social media is more than just filming your uniform. It's the lanyard in the background. It's the mention of a specific project. Most companies don't even need a snitch anymore. They have social media listening tools. You hit record at 8 a.m. to complain about your supervisor's tone. By 2 p.m., that supervisor is watching your video in a conference room with legal. By 4 p.m., you have a random 15-minute Teams invite on your calendar with an HR rep you've never met. You went from sharing your truth to looking for a job in the span of a lunch break. Now, we have to be honest about the free speech fallacy. Free speech protects you from the government, not from the HR director who just saw you dragging a senior VP on your IG story. You cannot have the perks of the professional bag and the reckless behavior of a private citizen at the same time.
Hey, Banksy. So the question I received is, can I get in trouble at work if I'm talking about my coworkers or company on my personal phone outside of work hours? So unfortunately, the answer is yes. Quick story, I worked with someone who was part of the HR team. Someone had quit on a bad note and then started talking to him on IG about coworkers, things like that. So he started engaging in the conversation. Wasn't talking, badly with this person, but was really engaging the conversation. Long story short, his manager found out. Then he was written up for unprofessionalism and a bunch of other BS things, but eventually ended up getting fired.
Professionalism is, by definition, a set of constraints. If you're waiting for a workplace to be perfect before you decide to be professional, you're going to be unemployed for a very long time. Before you hit post, check the ROI. Is this 3-minute video worth the 3 years of experience you're about to flush? Being authentic doesn't mean being unfiltered. If you can't tell the difference between a private grievance and a public performance, don't be surprised when your employer decides to give you all the free time in the world to figure it out. Keep it in the diary, keep it in the group chat, or keep your resume updated. The choice is yours. If you've seen this play out in real time, or you've been tempted to hit record after a rough meeting, let's talk about it. But do me a favor, keep the company names out of the comments. We're practicing discretion today. At what point did we decide that the general public was the appropriate HR department for our daily inconveniences? For the hiring managers and business owners watching, when you see a candidate with a history of workplace story time, are you seeing a whistleblower or are you seeing a liability you can't afford to onboard? And where do you draw the line between being an authentic creator and a reckless employee? Can you truly be both in today's economy? The internet is forever, but your current frustration is temporary. Don't let a fleeting moment of anger become a permanent part of your professional obituary. Clarity is a choice, and today, that choice involves knowing when to put the phone down and pick the diary up. I'm not here to hold your hand. I'm here to show you the map. And the map says there's a cliff right behind that post button. Thank y'all for watching. Like the video, share, hype the video as well. And I will see y'all in the next one. Peace.